So how do advisors become more behavioural coaches than the traditional transactional advice model that advisors have traditionally used?
I think if you asked, and as Fran had mentioned, a lot of the higher end or the top end advisors probably already would think of themselves as a behavioral coach. They may not necessarily define themselves as that, but they know that managing the client and the relationship and the emotional aspects of the client relationship are important components of their business. And so I think the nature of moving to fee-based allows them to focus on the things that are more important than the day-to-day headlines, which cause most of the emotions, and get the environment charged to the extent that clients might be scared away from the markets when things are bad, or get over-exuberant when they're too good. It allows the advisor to go back to the beginning and talk about the financial plans and all that time and effort that was spent building the roadmap for the client's success, and get them to focus on the more important things, which is their specific objectives, and not necessarily on the headlines that might be occurring at the time.
And from your experience, have advisors had to train themselves to become behavioural coaches, or is this something that they can do naturally over time?
It's very difficult, and I think they have had to train themselves over time, because underneath, advisors are human beings as well. And the hardest part about the investment markets, in our opinion, is that it is cyclical. And yet, it's hard to define when those cycles break. A clear example for the Australian market would be the commodities market and the tie to the market to commodities. They have super cycles, if you will, and it becomes very difficult to stay bullish on commodities towards the mid and 1990s. And now it becomes very difficult not to want to have a portfolio very skewed towards commodity-sensitive investments because of their 10, 12-year performance. So underneath, we have to understand that the advisors are human beings as well. They're looking at 3, 5, and 10-year performance numbers, and so they really have to guard themselves about doing the best interest for their clients, and it is a tough thing to do.
And both of you guys have been advisors yourself. How did you practice in this regard?
Yeah, it's hard because you also are, you're trying to retain your clients, and so your clients are at the same time, they're questioning, why would you sell my asset that's up 30% compounded annually for a 3-year, 5-year, and put it into an investment that has a 0% return for 0-5 years? So a lot of it is about professional negotiation with your investors, and I think if you can live through one cycle of rebalancing or one cycle of getting them to understand how cyclical the markets are, it then feeds on itself. But it is a difficult process to balance client expectations and client desire versus what you feel is in the best interest of those clients.
It's very much like anything. People tend to get very involved in their own world, and they get very self-centered, and they get very concerned when things start happening with their money. And yet many people kind of use that emotion to their own detriment because they're too quick to make a trade or make a change. And I think to Fran's point, it's a lot like a personal trainer. Most of us don't need to be told that to be in better shape, you have to eat better and exercise more, but some of us have a hard time motivating ourselves to do that. That's where maybe using a personal trainer can help you get that motivation to the same extent when things are due to be rebalanced, your asset allocation is due to be restored. Sometimes it's very difficult to sell the things that have done best and buy things that haven't. And you need that extra help from an advisor to help you do the right thing.